where he played his first 2 years.
They've tipped it up, and the Aztecs have first possession. DeAndre Moore hangs midair, finds Tony Bland, and a great way to start.
Man, I think you're going to see the Aztecs play with a lot of energy tonight. They're going to come out, they're going to pressure all over the court early, and they're going to try to really jump on IPFW right away.
Bland with the turnover to DeAndre Moore, midair, highlight film shot, 30 seconds into it. Hey, now. A 4-0 Aztec lead, and it's the same full-court pressure coach that we saw against the Florida Atlantic University Owls on Saturday.
You'll see the Aztecs, when there's the ability to run, they're going to run it up the floor.
Mike McHale with a good move to lose a defender off the glass. Can't get it down, but Eric Sanders is there. 6-0 Aztec. Again, it's an early full-court pressure employed by Steve Fisher's Aztecs. IPFW doesn't even have their sea legs on them yet.
IPFW has spent a lot of time this year on the road. Of course, they come in 2-11. A lot of those losses have been on the road.
Trying to swing it out to the open man, Quentin Carruthers. Fewer than 10 seconds on the shot clock, and Tommy Johnson with the steal. He'll lay it in with the left hand. And a quick timeout taken by Doug Knoll and the Mastodons. All Aztecs, the first minute 20 left.
Well, I'll tell you, the Aztecs right from the get-go tonight, much more aggressive on this press than they were the other night against Florida Atlantic. Coach Knoll not very happy about the way his ball club has handled the pressure. You take a look right there, Tony Bland getting his hand in the passing lane, throwing it up to DeAndre Moore. He catches it in the air and tosses it in, and that's just the beginning right now, the way the Aztecs have really come out of the blocks playing defense.
But we haven't even had a chance to tell you the name of the Mastodons head coach, Doug Knoll, in his 4th season coaching this program, before he's forced to take an early timeout as the Aztecs have run right out of the gate.
The Aztec team, Matt, is getting better day by day, and again, you look at the bench depth. Coach Fisher's been playing anywhere from 9 to 11 ball players per night. The other night, he was able to clear his bench entirely, but this team right now is really taking it up defensively a couple of notches over the last 2 weeks.
D'Angelo Woodall running the point. Shot from NBA three-point land from Terry Collins. He likes to shoot this three. It rolls around and out. This is Tommy Johnson running the Aztecs offense. Now, he had a wide-open look at his three. Instead, it goes into Mike McHale, who loses it off his foot. IPFW spots up another three. That one no good, back iron. And it'll be Aztec basketball. An early substitution now for the Mastodons, as Brad Knoll, the son of head coach Doug Knoll, checks in early, replacing Quentin Carruthers.
Brad, a 6', 185-pound senior, played his high school ball at Western High School in Spring Arbor, Michigan. Of course, his father was the head basketball coach at Spring Arbor College there in Michigan.
DeAndre Moore to Tony Bland, finds Eric Sanders wide open with a guy in his face, is able to lay it in off the glass. 4 early points for Eric Sanders.
See, right here, this is where IPFW you got to get the ball to the middle, and then you split the Aztec defense.
The Mastodons already 0 for 3 from three-point land. They have not been able to penetrate at all. They've had trouble breaking the press. Let's take them one at a time.
Mike McHale doing a real good job down there against David Simon, trying to front him a little bit, getting some backside help right now from Eric Sanders.
Terry Collins puts that one down. Mastodons on the board, 10-3 Aztecs. They push it up quickly. Tony Bland for 3. That one nothing but air. And it'll go out of bounds to the Mastodons.
It was almost like Tony got the ball and he realized he was so far wide open, he kind of thought about it for a minute and then airballed the shot.
Mastodon's able to break the press again. This is D'Angelo Woodall trying to get it to the other side of the court. Tony Bland there to pick it. DeAndre Moore off the glass. 12-3 Aztecs. En route to a 91-point attack on Saturday against Florida Atlantic, the Aztecs scored 51 of them in the first half, and they're on a similar pace tonight. Eric Sanders moving bodies around. Can't get it to fall in. Mike McHale on the offensive rebound.
Now, right now, IPFW just completely overwhelmed. The Aztecs are a much quicker team. They're the much more active team right now, and IPFW just struggling to get the ball across half court, let alone get some type of rhythm offensively.
Ball out of bounds, and the officials say that the Mastodons retain possession. Another substitution for IPFW. Tyler Clevenger checks in for D'Angelo Woodall. Clevenger, a freshman guard from Winchester, Indiana.
Yeah, he was a real top recruit for the Mastodons. He was a Hoosier Basketball Magazine All-State selection a year ago.
I would imagine that trying to recruit at a smaller school in Indiana like IPFW, when you're competing with the Hoosiers and the Boilermakers, wouldn't be the easiest of chores. Mole ditches it off underneath to their leading scorer, Jim Kucinich. He can't get the shot to fall, but he's fouled.
You know, picking up on that thought, Matt, I 100% agree with you. Of course, it was probably much more difficult when Bobby Knight was in state than with Mike Davis, who, by the way, got a one-game suspension today for that outburst a couple of weeks ago. See that block right there, and the ball eventually goes out of bounds, and it's IPFW's ball. But, you know, I think one of the things they're going to have to do, they're doing a good job of getting freshmen, but I think for immediate help, especially down in the paint, maybe out of the point guard position, they're going to have to probably go the JC ranks.
Great pressure again on the Aztec defense, preventing any type of an inbound approach. And the Aztecs will take the basketball. 16:01 left. We're just underway, just more or less here at Cox Arena. And the Aztecs running and pressing, forcing 5 IPFW turnovers in 4 minutes. Good night. Tommy Johnson walked with it. Steve Fisher takes an early timeout. All Aztecs to start. Plenty of basketball left with 15:48 left first half. Aztecs up big.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew you'd like chocolate cake.
Yes. I will marry you.
What?
I love you.
Oh, wow.
I'm engaged.
We're engaged.
Surprise.
And I'm like, I'm the one that's surprised. How long you been dating?
2 weeks. Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
Hold on. She's excited.
Hey, hi, Mom.
We were here when he began to see the world. For his most dramatic performance. And for the day when he met his best friend. We're Save-On, the total photo department you've always counted on for low prices and 1-hour processing, for a wide selection of film and cameras, and for making those larger-than-life moments even larger. Save-On. Count on people who care.
It's Ford's last call. The year's almost over, and that means unbelievable deals on brand new 2003s. There's only a few days left to get the Ford you want at deals that are about to go away. 0% for 5 years on all Rangers and Explorers. 0% plus $1,500 on Escape. 0% plus $1,000 on Windstar and F-150. 0% on just about every 2003 Ford. Ford's last call ends January 2nd. Don't miss it.
Well, everybody into the act early. 14-3 Aztecs early first half. Matt Vasgersian back alongside John Quintero. Tony Bland got us started right after the opening tip, and really the Aztecs haven't slowed it down.
Well, Tony's been extremely active. Of course, he was awarded that ball from the game the other night where he scored his 1,000th collegiate point. Just doing a great job on the press. That's an area where I think Tony doesn't get the credit. I think he's really improved his defense the last couple of years here at San Diego State. And the one thing where he has really, I think, taken a lot of pride in the last half dozen ball games, he's doing a much better job of setting up his teammates passing the ball.
8 assists on Saturday night just from a guy who's averaging almost 15 points a game. He's really been outstanding. After a couple of rough games to start the season, Tony is assuming a bit of a revised role, and the entire team benefits from that.
You know, the other night the Aztecs had 31 field goals in that win over Florida Atlantic, 23 assists. They did a great job moving the basketball around the other night.
Evan Burns has checked into the game for the Aztecs. He's applying the heavy pressure. Travis Hanauer also went off the bench. Aztecs 7 deep into the rotation, and look at the shooting numbers. My goodness, the Aztecs lighten it up at 70%. That's because all their points have come from the paint. High percentage shots so far. Clevenger with the early Willie Ames haircut. And Tommy Bradford can't dish it off. David Simon takes the shot, and he's fouled. Call it on Evan Burns, his first personal, first foul of the night by an Aztec.
How about Evan going with a headband look tonight after that 21-point performance the other night?
Not one for superstitions, I guess, huh?
Take a look right here, getting in the paint. That's about the best look they've had inside so far, and they draw a foul.
Simon's first shot clanks off the back iron.
Simon kind of an interesting guy, Matt. He transferred from Loyola University there in Chicago, where he played volleyball.
You know that Loyola University is known as a volleyball powerhouse here on the West Coast. One of two good right alongside his season line. Simon just a 48% free thrower. Travis Hanauer bombs away for 3.
He's another guy coming off a big night the other night. His collegiate high 11 against the Owls of Florida Atlantic.
Stuck a couple of three-pointers. I don't know how the Mastodons retained possession on that. They say it was tipped by an Aztec.
Well, it looked like it was pretty much a line drive into the little board here.
Brad Knoll working on Mike McHale, who came off his assignment for a moment and again deflected off an Aztec. Still Mastodon ball. Steve Searle check in now for the Aztecs. He'll replace DeAndre Moore. 8 deep into the rotation.
I know Steve Fisher would like to get something out of Steve Searle tonight. The other night, you could tell Steve really not playing with a lot of confidence. You got to remember, he started the first 6 games of the year. The other night, 10 minutes, 0 for 3, and just didn't play with a lot of aggressiveness.
This is Kucinich off the front iron. A 13-point advantage early for the Aztecs tonight. Hanauer to serve. Good aggressive defense as Tyler Clevenger knocks it out of bounds. Aztec ball with 25 seconds left on the shot clock.
Looks like IPFW now starting to play a little more spring in their step. They came out and were almost shell-shocked by the way the Aztecs jumped on them the first couple of minutes of the ball game.
Well, you know, you made a good point earlier as Tony Bland's lay-in is no good. This is another team like the FAU Owls on Saturday. They haven't played at home but twice all year. I mean, I don't know how these guys are keeping up that kind of pace.
How do you go to school when you're on the road all the time?
Evan Burns from Steve serve. That's a good point. You know, it's one thing to win basketball games. It's tough to get to class if you're always on a bus. Oh, huge defense and a great backhanded look from Evan Burns, but Steve Serve's pass to McHale is battered away. What a play by Evan Burns coming off the steal.
Well, how about that pass by Burns right to Sir? And I'd like to see Steve try to take this a little more directly to the bucket. He was going to pass it right here. Hey, go to the bucket. Go to the bucket. Hey, right now the guards of IPFW just are nowhere near as quick as the San Diego State guards.
Travis Hanauer to Burns from three-point land. He can shoot it from out there too, y'all. 5 points for Evan Burns. You know, back to Burns for a moment and the 21-point game he had on Saturday. He had matched his previous career high of 10 points in the first 10 minutes of his appearance. I mean, he makes an immediate impact when Steve Fisher checks him in.
And you know what I like? He plays defense, too. He comes in with a lot of intensity. You see that knockdown shot right there. Tell you what, this Aztec team is getting better. And for the fans who maybe haven't ventured out to Cox Arena, they might want to pick up a ticket because this team is going to be good once conference play hits.
Chris Manker has checked in for San Diego State. He was on the front end of what would have been that fast break before the Mastodons retained their possession advantage. And they're going to get Evan Burns for a reach around.
6 steals to 1 right now. San Diego State leading IPFW. Almost seems like the Aztecs have more steals than IPFW has shot attempts so far.
working Hanauer. A 22-point lead for the Aztecs. Still plenty of basketball left tonight. IPFW just can't get anything done inside. Nothing. Shot no good.
Well, the big thing, Matt, the guards out front, Hanauer and DeAndre Moore, Tony Bland when he was in the ball game, the guards just can't get any type of penetration whatsoever, and they can't get any kind of passing angle to get it inside.
Burns with the same shot, no good. The 7-footer had the rebound, couldn't get it to fall. Burns with the offensive board, and that one wasn't good either. Back to the Mastodon. A second and third look. And the Aztecs can't get the bucket. You know, you mentioned something a moment ago, Coach, as we take a look at this shot and a series of offensive rebounds.
Man, this is what you talk, hammering the board. Manker misses. Burns comes in. He gets the shot. They're just going to those offensive boards. That's very impressive. They didn't get anything out of it, but more times than not, it's going to be a plus rather than a minus.
The fact that these Mastodons seem to have accumulated more turnovers than they have even field goal attempts. This is becoming a trend. The Cynic shot is no good.
All starts at the defensive end of the floor for the Aztecs.
Steve Zerr for three. Mark it down.
That's big for Steve Zerr. That's a big confidence builder right there. You knock one down like that early in the ball game when you've lost your starting spot. Your minutes have really declined. Let's see if he might hit 2 or 3 in a row now.
These guys are playing like they're double parked tonight. I mean, it's 2 passes and a 3-pointer on both ends of the floor. Travis Hanauer wanted the ball into Evan Burns. In and out of trouble, and it's taken away by D'Angelo Woodall. The senior point guard lays it in for an easy bucket.
IPFW, they got worked over pretty good the other night by UC Irvine. Things aren't going well here at Cox Arena, and after tonight's ball game, they get to head over and take on UNLV on January 2nd.
That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
And Happy New Year.
DeAndre Moore's jump shot no good. Well, you know, Saturday night, we talked about this a couple of nights ago here, Coach. The Florida Atlantic University Owls had almost as many turnovers, 26, as they did field goals, 27. And credit the Aztecs defense for the pressure applied. It's not just that these are struggling opponents. Ooh, Chris Manker gets taken down. Fans giving Kyle Thrasher the business. But a guy whose style of play is befitting of his last name is guilty of his first foul of the night.
Now, take a look at this. Manker goes in, obviously off balance. Thrasher trying to foul him hard. He was trying to hang on to him there, just wasn't able to hang on him all the way. Chris didn't like it, but Thrasher was trying to help him up. So I don't think anything really harmful was intended.
It's the first time Chris Manker's gone to the free throw line this year.
You know, going back to Florida Atlantic the other night, I mean, that was not a slouch ball club by any stretch of the imagination. They've struggled on the road, but coming in, they were 4-6. They lost all 6 of their games on the road. They were 2-0 on neutral court, 2-0 at home, and they were a team that played in the NCAA last year and gave Alabama fits in that first-round game before the Crimson Tide was able to come back late and beat them.
A couple of substitutions for the Aztecs now as John Sharper and Eric Sanders have checked in, replacing Evan Burns and Travis Hanauer. And the second shot is good by Manker. 11 minutes left here, first half, a 20-point Aztec lead. And the Mastodons take another timeout. So if you like fast offense, you like what the Aztecs are doing tonight. We'll be right back.
Below, you'll see the beautiful San Diego Bay. We hope you enjoy your visit. And if you live here, welcome home.
Yo, Busta Rhymes! I'm a huge fan. I'm on a date with this honey, Erica. Right, man, you could hook me up if you came by the table and said hi.
See what I can do, man.
Yo, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hey, old dog, what's going on?
Busta, can't you see him busy? Keeps calling me. I'm gonna rap on my record.
got disrespected.
I don't think I got dissed at all.
Why you say that? Did y'all meet Erica yet?
From last night?
Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
What would you say if you just found out you can buy this direct from the factory and save hundreds of dollars? That's right. Sofas, sectionals, slip covers, and more. And choose from over 2,000 fabrics. Any size, any way you want it, because we are the factory. Right now, this sofa and love seat is only $8.99. Legends Home Furnishings on Miramar Road, and now in Hillcrest on University, because it pays to add a legend to your home.
The Aztecs off to a running, tenacious D-type start. With all deference paid to Jack Black, it has been a tenacious D here that has paved the way to a big early Aztec advantage, 26-6. Coach John Quintero alongside me, Matt Vasquez. It's nice to have you with us on Channel 4 tonight. We'll be back with you on the air. Well, half of us will. You'll be here on Friday the 3rd alongside a real basketball guy, Chris Marlowe, when Loyola Marymount comes to town to make out the third opponent in this 5-game set of home games. And it's really a nice time to come and watch the Aztecs. Loyola Marymount on the 3rd. We got Bobby Knight and the Red Raiders coming on the 6th. Really a nice time to come down here and watch some basketball.
Well, Matt, I know this is going to be your last ball game, and you're going to take a few weeks to rest up and get ready for baseball season. Hopefully the Padres have a real solid year, a year before they go into their new ballpark.
Well, let me tell you something. If it's anywhere close to as exciting as this is, we're going to have some fun come April. This Aztecs team is a lot of fun to watch. D'Angelo Woodall, he's got 2 of the 6 Mastodon points. Steve Sir is there to get in the passing lane. Another turnover. John Sharper running the point now.
Well, John Sharper played well the other night, a career-high 8 points, and really playing with a lot of passion right now.
Look at the big boy shooting the 3. Chris Manker can spot that tray. Oh, gone. Shooting over 40% from 3-point land is Manker. They're going to get John Sharper on the backcourt foul.
Here's Chris Manker. Here's a 7-footer who loves to shoot the 3-point shot. Boom, nothing but net. One thing Steve Fisher would like to see Manker do, though, I think, is be a little bit more aggressive, take the ball in the paint, get to the free throw line a little bit more.
Brandon Jennings' shot is no good. Terry Collins there for the rebound. He goes back into the paint and gets it batted away. DeAndre Moore surfaces from that with the basketball. Finds Steve Sir, who pulls up from 3-point land. Shot no good. I guess with a 23-point lead still early in the game, shoot that 3-pointer, try to get some confidence established, especially a guy like Sir. This turnaround look put down by Kyle Thrasher, his 2 first points of the game.
That was a really sweet move by Thrasher at the other end.
And he's guilty of his second foul of the game on the other end of it.
Yeah, good hustle, though. Thrasher made that bucket, went to the floor, hustled back, ended up picking up the foul. A lot of guys, after scoring a bucket, they stick their chest out and brought back on defense. Give Thrasher credit. He helped the other end of the floor.
You know, at 6'8", Kyle Thrasher is one of the bigger bodies that Doug Knoll has to deal with for IPFW. And when you look at some of these bodies, and then you look at the rebounding numbers, they don't really correspond very well. The Mastodons have 6 guys at 6'6" or bigger, yet they're being out-rebounded by an average of 6 rebounds a night.
Well, you look at Kepsa, Nick, the big center at 6'10". He's only averaging right now 4.9 rebounds per game. I'd expect him to be up around 7 or 8 per game.
30-8, Aztecs, 9:35 left first half. The way we started out tonight, it looked like the Aztecs might be on a record-setting scoring pace. They scored 51 in the first half on Saturday. Down to 15 seconds on the shot clock now. Quentin Carruthers has just checked in. He gets laid out on his way to the hoop. That was Tremaine Davis who banged him up. Davis just checked in for the Aztecs.
And Carruthers banged up, and I'm not so sure that was the right call. To me, it looked like Tremaine Davis did a great job of anticipating Carruthers' move, and he got over there in time. Take a look right here. Well, I'll tell you what, that could have gone either way, but I'll be honest with you, I thought Davis did a heck of an effort to get over there. Take a look at that. Well, I think Tremaine might have started to lean a little bit too early, and that's why he didn't get the call.
Well, the last thing IPFW needs at 2-11 are more injuries. They're already without a guy they thought would be starting tonight.
Yeah, Rick Weand, a real good-looking young ball player, only a sophomore. He tweaked a knee last night in their workout, getting ready for tonight's ball game, so he's sitting this one out.
They're without the aforementioned. They're also without Keon Henderson, a returnee. He came to IPFW from Chicago a couple of years ago, so they're struggling in a lot of ways, and certainly not the healthiest bunch right now. Quentin Carruthers' second free throw rattles around and out.
Yeah, Henderson, he got hurt the last 7 games last year with that knee injury and just has been unable to really get back to full strength, so he's not played yet this year.
John Sharper spots up the 3, and it rolls around and out. Gets it back after a couple of hands touched it. So a fresh shot clock for the Aztecs. A great ball movement for the Aztecs. And they find the guy with the hot hand. Sharper gets the three-pointer to fall.
Boy, that's got to bring a smile to the Aztec coaching staff's faces. Let me tell you, that was a great job of passing the ball 3 or 4 times, and Sharper cannon the jumper.
Aztecs have scored tonight. There's Tyler Clevenger checking back in now. They'll replace Quentin Carruthers. They want to make sure Carruthers is okay after the collision with Tremaine Davis. IPFW has given it up 10 times. It's the same kind of thing we saw Saturday with Florida Atlantic in town. Good Aztec defense, forcing opposition mistakes.
Well, if you can put pressure on the guards, it's really going to get a team to struggle offensively to get the ball inside and get any type of rhythm.
Shot by Eric Sanders is no good. Jim Kesenick with the rebound.
We haven't seen Tommy Johnson a whole lot since the ball game started. He came out and was real active on the press since he's been out. He hasn't been back yet. He might need to run around here at Cox Arena and loosen up again.
Good offensive rebound by Brandon Jennings, their biggest player at 235 pounds. Jennings has his first points of the night. Tony Bland, somebody got a piece of that, and he drops it anyway. Very pretty.
Hey, how about the old double pump right there? They learned that playing a lot of street ball up there in the LA City area.
Jennings again. DeAndre Moore wants to run, had nobody out in front of the break. Sharper to Bland in the corner. The 20-footer rattles around and out. Another rebound from Eric Sanders. He's averaging 10 a night. 35-11 Aztecs. Just over 7 minutes left in the first half. You know, we were talking about the potential record scoring pace that the Aztecs were on after the opening whistle. The school record for points scored is 138, and I think that's safe tonight.
Yeah, they did it against my alma mater, too.
U.S. International University. My goodness. That was back in February of '86. And U.S. International University no longer has a basketball program, as you well know, Coach. And I think that night might have had something to do with that.
I would imagine it did. And, of course, USIU and Loyola Marymount hooked up in a couple of unbelievable games there in the 80s. I think Loyola that one night scored like 185.
Clevenger's shot's no good. And a good heads-up play by Brandon Jennings to save it. Substitutions now. Mike McHale will check back in for the Aztecs. Mike and the rest of the boys will have their go with 6:18 left first half right after this quick break. Aztecs on top 35-11. We'll be right back.
Only Miller Genuine Draft is cold filtered 4 times, so its pure, refreshing taste is never heated away. MGD, pure beer for a pure night out.
that the Good Guys offers the all-new Mitsubishi widescreen HD TV. Didn't pay nothing until January 2004. Maybe Joe Montana can finally retire in style at all Good Guys locations.
Only Miller Genuine Draft is cold filtered 4 times, so its pure, refreshing taste is never heated away. MGD, pure beer for a pure night out.
It has been a superhuman effort so far by your hardwood Aztecs. That young man's getting ready to tuck himself into bed. Somebody who's played like Superman on the rebounding end of things has been Eric Sanders.
He's having a marvelous year. And, Matt, I think that right now Eric Sanders playing with a lot of confidence. He's got 90 total rebounds on the year, 13 block shots. I think that's an area where he'll improve with timing, playing experience. But I love Eric Sanders. I just love the way this kid comes every night and plays so hard. And watching him in practice, you're very impressed. Because a lot of times, guys, when they got a starting position, they won't lay it on the line in practice. Eric Sanders is one of those guys. He comes out every day fighting for his job.
Tommy Johnson checks back in. The Aztecs with Johnson, Davis, Bland, McHale, and Moore. Tyler Clevenger dishes it off to Terry Collins. Not to be confused with the former Astro manager, Angel coach. He looks for Tyler Clevenger once again, clearing out bodies. He's got a hockey style about him. Maybe it's the dew. Too many steps by D'Angelo Woodall. Another turnover by IPFW.
You know, this program, IPFW, you and I had an opportunity to hear Coach Knoll talk before the ball game, and I remember talking to him last year when they came in. They're a program that's trying to build a Division I program. 3 years ago, they had 4.5 scholarships. Last year they had 10. This year they have the full complement, and they had a pretty good recruiting year. A lot of these kids are freshmen and sophomores. They're playing D1 ball for the first time. It's going to take a while for them, but, you know, the administration, the people involved with IPFW are willing to make that type of sacrifice, and Coach Knoll has not lost his spirit to coach. I mean, he had a pretty good job at Spring Arbor College in Michigan. He took this job and has really embraced it. He's got a good coaching staff and a lot of positive things in place. They just need to play and get experience.
Woodall with a wide open look at his three. It's no good. DeAndre Moore out rebounds a guy who's got 2 feet on him. To Kucinich, the two-handed put down. The fans get on him a little bit.
Oh, when you're 6'10", you got to go up there and throw it down without pulling the rim down to do it, don't you?
I wouldn't know. I don't have those problems. So a 37-13 lead for the Aztecs. But back to the IPFW program, we talked about how difficult it must be to recruit in that state for a school with an enrollment of just over 11,000 students. It's just their second season of Division I basketball. It's not really a storied basketball history there either. They've only had a basketball program since the early 70s.
Well, you take a look at basketball. I mean, it's one sport where if you can get 2 and they turn it over, nobody's even guarding them in the backcourt. Kucinich throws it right out of bounds. You know, the thing is, Matt, basketball is the easiest sport from the standpoint of being competitive. You get a good point guard, you get a good center, get 3 role players, and a couple of guys come off the bench. All of a sudden, you can be all right. But it's going to take a while, especially when you're recruiting in a state like Indiana. Even though those guys love to play basketball, there are a lot of other schools from other states coming there to steal your players.
Tony Bland fouled on the baseline. Tyler Clevenger called with his first personal.
That's one of these games when you're a San Diego State player and you know you're going to win the basketball game. You know that if you're a starter, you're probably not going to get to play a lot. You want to make sure you get your stats. You don't want to, you know, be one of those nights where you get 4 points and you win by 40 or something like that.
But we've seen some guys take some shots that in closer quarters they may not be so happy about. You know, nobody under the hoop. You're pulling up from 3 points away. That's the old world beat 3, you know, jump shot. No friendly jerseys under there, but you're spotting up from 30 feet away.
Well, it's still early. There's still a second half to be played, and I guarantee you the starters for the Aztecs, they're gonna be more than happy to try to get their average tonight.
A 25-point Aztec lead. As the Mastodons turn it over again. 13 turnovers tonight. What IPFW is guilty of. My goodness.
Nice job by Tremaine Davis stealing his man. They weren't able to get him the ball, though.
D'Angelo Woodall takes it away from Travis Hanauer. Terry Collins can't get the lay-in to drop. Tony Bland on the assist from Tommy Johnson.
Oh, Tommy Johnson playing with a ton of confidence. Great two-hand snap pass to Tony Bland, a guy from Crenshaw High School in L.A. to a guy from Westchester High School in Los Angeles.
You can just see it in the Aztecs players' eyes. As you mentioned earlier, Coach, this is a game they know they've got won. The Steve Fisher would never admit to that. He wants to coach until the final buzzer tonight. But the fellas are starting to have a little fun now.
Does Tommy Johnson have a good smile on his face after that beautiful pass to Tony Bland?
All Aztecs in the first half. We'll be right back.
Thinking about adding another room? You can have a Best Sun and Patio room at half the cost of a room addition. Suitable for any style home, a Best Sun and Patio is practical, versatile, and great looking. Don't wait. You could be enjoying your new room in just 30 days. Right now, get zero down and no payments for 90 days. Best Sun and Patio will be a fun room for the whole family.
Call now and we'll include a pool table, widescreen, or $1,500 cash rebate.
A Best Sun and Patio room is America's favorite room.
Your path to the future. Get there from here. Southwestern College. Training for today's hottest careers is here at Southwestern College. There are day, evening, and weekend classes available in Chula Vista, National City, and San Isidro. And classes are only $11 a unit for all California residents. Quality education at the right price. Hurry. Enroll now. Spring classes begin January 22nd.
It's the Hyundai Win-Win Year-End event, where you can save thousands over a comparable Honda or Toyota because you win with cash back on 2002 and 2003 models, like $1,000 back on a 2003 Hyundai Elantra, and win with America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. But this event ends January 5th, so hurry. Win with cash back, win with America's best warranty. With Hyundai, you win. At the Win-Win Year-End event, own a 2003 Accent for $149 per month.
Well, we've done a little research here during the commercial break. If you're wondering, the Aztecs school record for their largest margin of victory is 103 points. Back in January of 1954, the Aztecs beat Chapman College 140-37.
I don't think we're going to see that tonight.
That's Randy Jones' alma mater, isn't it? I guess RJ didn't play much hoop.
RJ, Tim Flannery, they both played there.
That's right. See, now, if RJ and Flan were there, it wouldn't have been quite the discrepancy in scoring.
Well, Flan would have been a great defensive point guard, and if you tried to score that many points against Randy, he'd have broke your arm.
40-13 Aztecs. About 3.5 minutes left here, first half. Oh, boy, they're going to get McHale on that one. Mike thought he got there to establish position. Instead, he's called with the foul, his first personal.
Yeah, I think Mike will be able to play with that one foul tonight. Take a look right here. Again, trying to anticipate. Now, he moved into Clevenger right there. Good call by the referee down on the baseline. Take another angle right here. Either way, see Big Mike moving in. Got to get in front of that guy. You can't slide up right alongside of him. Good call by the official. Actually, pretty easy play. The call.
First one good, Clevenger. Second, no good. A chance perhaps to work on some different looks here with the healthy advantage for the Loyola game coming up on Friday. Tommy Johnson, the lefty's three-pointer is good. There's not an Aztec out there that doesn't have a smile on his face right now, by the way.
Well, I think Tommy Johnson wakes up with a smile on his face in the morning. Last year, you know, he didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to play, but he always had a smile on his face. He always kept a great attitude, and you know, he was the only freshman that played at all last year in this San Diego State program, and he is starting to show why he was the 2000 LA City Player of the Year up there for Willie West at Crenshaw.
Well, a good move by Terry Collins. Fans thought he might have walked. Shot doesn't fall. Never mind. DeAndre Moore wrapping it around to the other side. Sloppy pass. Collins saved it. 43-14 Aztecs. Just under 2.5 minutes left in the first half.
IPFW just not been able to get anything going whatsoever. No shots inside. They've struggled for getting a perimeter shot off. They really don't have one thing they've been able to do fairly consistently in this first half.
Fans with the bogus shot clock chant that almost worked. Terry Collins knocked it down.
Yeah, Collins really huge night the other night against UC Irvine with those 36 points, but 9 of 13 on three-point opportunities. He originally started his career at Appalachian State and played 18 games last year and averaged 12.5 points per ball game.
DeAndre just gave that one up.
2 turnovers in a row for DeAndre.
A nice move by Brandon Jennings for his 4th point of the night.
You know, one thing, I mean, the Aztecs have turned it over the last couple of times. One thing Steve Fisher is going to talk about at halftime, he's going to say, hey, guys, the game is nothing when we go back out there. We want to get our intensity back. We want to work on something. And I guarantee you this, knowing Coach Knoll of IPFW, his team will compete hard the whole night. If the Aztecs get sloppy, you'll see IPFW cut this lead down.
That's a 3rd straight turnover for the Aztecs. One way to let the door open. Terry Collins can't find a shot. Here's DeAndre looking like a man who wants to do it himself. He loses a handle on it.
Steve Fisher not happy. He wants a timeout right now. He yelled at the official, timeout. He is not happy about those last 3 or 4 trips down the floor, and you can see that grimace on his face right now. He wants to get his ball club back focused.
We remind you to stay with us at halftime. Our friend John Weisbarth has a feature on the Aztec women's basketball team, one that boasts 7 freshmen. The young lady Aztecs, a topic we'll get into at halftime tonight from Cox Arena. And also a reminder on our upcoming television schedule. 3 more home games around this holiday New Year season. Starting with Friday's game against Loyola Marymount. Ed Rich basketball program visits Cox Arena January 3rd. This coming Friday, we'll be with you on Channel 4. Join Chris Marlowe and Coach John Quintero for play-by-play. January 6th, Bobby Knight and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Come see Bobby use all kinds of foul language and throw folding chairs around. And then January 8th, the city championship with USD invading Cox Arena.
Oh, that Texas Tech game, of course, that'll be on national television that night. Big Sunday game, but I'll be here for that. I don't know. I mean, I've always kind of enjoyed Bobby Knight. I know he's done some pretty goofy things and taken a lot of heat, but he's also done a lot of wonderful things that people don't know. I used to coach baseball at Texas Tech University, and last year they were trying to raise some money. Bobby Knight came into Larry Hayes, the Texas Tech baseball coach's office, said, what can I help you with? He goes, well, if you give me some jerseys and bats, and they were there within 48 hours, Matt, and they made $45,000 just because of Bobby Knight, and they helping out the baseball program there at Texas Tech.
Well, they love him down there. The Aztecs force a turnover now after the timeout, trying to reclaim some of that intensity that Coach was talking of earlier. With last shot, a turnover. Quentin Carruthers with the steal and the jam on the other end. That wasn't what Coach Fisher had in mind when he took that timeout just prior to half.
Coach Fisher's standing right in front of the Aztec bench right now, looking like he's the guy that's down by 22.
DeAndre Moore, 2 seconds left on the clock. Evan Burns gets it to drop at the buzzer.
Scored 21 points, been all over the court, not only going inside, but knocking down jumpers outside. Tony Bland kind of picking up where he left off the other night, scoring that 1,000th collegiate point, going in for an easy two-handed dunk there. Compliments of his buddy Tommy Johnson.
7 points for Tony, 7 for Evan Burns in the first half, and 2 players have 5, Tommy Johnson and Chris Manker, each with 5 first-half points. And of the 11 that have played, 10 of them are on the scoreboard for the Aztecs. How about the Mastodons? You have to look a little harder to find first-half highlights, but we found some.
Good jump shot by Terry Collins right now. Will you give him any type of space, he'll knock it down. Great second effort here. Brandon Jennings pulling down the rebound, laying it in.
Mastodon numbers after the first half. Brandon Jennings leads him with 6 points. Terry Collins also with 6 on a 2 for 11 first half shooting. Quentin Carruthers with 5 first half points for Doug Knoll's Mastodons. The halftime numbers rather lopsided, as the score would indicate. The Aztecs shooting 56% from the floor as compared to the Mastodons 31%. Mastodons just 2 for 10 from three-point land. The Aztecs at a healthy 6 for 13, shooting almost 50% from out there. And take a look at the rebounds and assist numbers. That is a pretty large discrepancy. We didn't even have a chance to do the turnover numbers, but also rather lopsided. It's all Aztecs everywhere you look.
Well, I know the turnovers for IPFW were at a very high rate. In fact, our stat man, Steve Dolan, had to sharpen his number 2 pencil to mark them all down in that first half. But I guarantee you this IPFW ball club, Matt, second half, they're going to come out and they're going to be competitive. The Aztecs, even though they got this big lead, and I don't think this game's in any way in jeopardy, they've got to play a better brand of basketball the second half, because the last 5 minutes they really lost their intensity. And Steve Fisher is trying to grow this basketball team. Of course, they got a game on Friday night against Loyola Marymount, and everybody has been looking towards that game since it was on the schedule 2 years ago, with Bobby Knight coming to town on Monday night.
Look at that young style master. Got the designer wear going. It's a style of a completely different kind as we're underway here in the second half. 45-21 Aztecs, second half underway. Perimeter rotation for the Mastodons. Brandon Jennings, their first half leading scorer with 6 points, puts it back to the point. Tyler Clevenger, not cut like your traditional point guard in college basketball. That shot by Jim Kusenik goes off the glass and around the rim and out. He gets his own rebound, and they'll run it again. Clevenger out of control. A Stevie Nash-like drive.
Very nice call on that. Completely out of control. Throws it up off the window, and bingo, 2 points. Clevenger drops to the other end to play defense against DeAndre Moore.
Total of 3 for the Winchester, Indiana native. He got a foul away from the ball.
Tommy Johnson, I think, got whacked in the mouth. I don't know if he's bleeding. If he's bleeding, he's going to have to come out of the ball game until trainer Mark Haynes is able to get it under control down there at the end of the Aztec bench. So it looks like Travis Hanauer going to come in.
No foul called, indeed, as Tommy Johnson has to duck out temporarily with a nosebleed.
Well, they're going to send both teams to their benches right now, and I don't know exactly if it's an official timeout or San Diego State's taking a timeout or what. There hasn't been any type of indication of why everybody's coming off the court.
Get ready for your boxing career, Coach. When there's blood in the ring, it's neutral corners.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened here. This is an official's timeout as they look at the floor, look at the surface for any traces of blood to get mopped up.
Maybe he lost a contact. That could be a possibility as well.
It gives us a chance to update you on what's becoming a very interesting number. Since the beginning of last season, the Aztecs are a resounding 15-5 here at Cox Arena. And while it might not be like the pit, there might not be a Cameron Crazies atmosphere here at Cox yet. The hope is that within the next 3 or 4 seasons, college basketball will be aware of the big home court advantage that the Aztecs enjoy here, and maybe they will mention this place in the same breath as the aforementioned venues.
Well, you know, I've done games here where this place has been absolutely packed. I remember last year, a couple of years ago, when Fresno State was here, Jerry Tarkanian coming to town, this place gets awful loud. And you go to a lot of arenas, and there can be a lot of people, but it won't be anywhere near as loud. Here at Cox Arena, you get 8, 9, 10,000 in here. You can hardly hear yourself think. So I think this has developed into a nice home court advantage for San Diego State. And I think the fans are really starting to respond to what Steve Fisher and his program is all about.
Eric Sanders almost took that basketball away as press was broken by Kyle Thrasher.
Yeah, I think that's one thing Coach Fisher's trying to get done here. He's trying to force his team to play hard by having them press. They're not trying to run up the score on IPFW. The second half gets started. He wants his guys to play hard and put the press to them. They've got to work hard.
That's Jim Kusenik. 4 points for Kusenik. He is their leading scorer, averaging just under 15 points a night. (47-25) Aztecs. Just over 18 minutes left here in the game. Tony Bland's shot no good. Tony had a pretty big night in last year's victory for the Aztecs over the Mastodons. Talk about the history between these two schools. There really isn't much. Their only previous meeting last year, a 90-72 Aztec victory. Hanauer was trying to get it into the low post to Mike McHale, but it was kicked away.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. I mean, it's going to be a lot of growing pains for IPFW and Coach Knoll, but he understood how difficult it was going to be when he took this job. And talking to him tonight, he hasn't lost any hope that he can build this into a good, solid basketball program.
Great work by Mike McHale on the offensive rebound. He put that one back over the short guard, Quentin Carruthers. 6 for McHale tonight. Mike scored better than 20 points in each of his last 2 games, and the only thing that's going to stop him from scoring 20 tonight is the fact that there's such a lead for the Aztecs, and everybody's into the act.
You know, it's been really pretty much of a wide-open game. I mean, the Aztecs ran the offense early in the game, but then they were getting a lot of transition buckets and a lot of turnovers where they were able to go in for, you know, easy layups, and they really haven't been able to work real hard to get that ball into the low post to a Mike McHale. And one guy I'd like to see the Aztecs continue to give the ball to, because I think he's got the ability to eventually develop into be a pretty solid offensive player, and that's Eric Sanders. They talk about how Sanders doesn't, you know, score points. It is an offensive threat. I think he's a little bit better offensive player than people realize. You watch him in practice, he does a lot of wonderful things, and even in ball games, when he gets the opportunity, he knows what to do with the basketball.
Clevenger's second shot good. Despite the best efforts of some true Aztec diehards behind the visitors' hoop, we saw one of those dudes here on Saturday, and he had this big picture cut out of Michael Jackson that he would wave in front of the visitors' faces as they towed the free throw line. And 2 of his pals have joined him with Siegfried and Roy cutouts. We'll try to get a shot of those guys a little later on. Oftentimes, your best action is in the stands, Coach, as you're well aware of.
Got those guys with the masks again tonight.
Those guys are outstanding.
I could make money on those guys at the old Olympic Auditorium in L.A.
Great defense by the Aztecs, and it forces Quentin Carruthers to take a timeout. Have some popcorn, young lady. There they are, our heroes.
There they are.
We got to get those guys' names, because I like the creative heckling. I like the shots they have. They've got the, if we get them to hold them up, they're too busy doing one of their pre-choreographed moves. Bob Fosse, eat your heart out. There they are. There they are. The Siegfried, the Roy, and the Michael.
Oh, my.
Which one gives you the creeps worse? Jacko, Siegfried, Roy.
Well, I know what the students at San Diego State are doing with their off time during the holidays.
They should put that in the academic recruiting video right there. Forget about the engineering program. Forget about the, you know, the English lit department. Come on out and hold up a big picture of some creepy guy that's had a lot of plastic surgery at a basketball game. 49-28 is the Aztec advantage with 16:32 left here, second half. You were talking about the numbers at home, Coach, and some of the crowds that have been here this year alone. The great sellout night with the #1 ranked Arizona Wildcats here. Important to note that the Aztecs are playing before an average home crowd, just under 7,000 a night, which at the current pace would easily surpass the record attendance. Last year's average crowd was just better than 6,100 per night, so they're on a record-setting fan pace this year.
Well, Maggie, this tonight, a Monday night ball game after the holidays, kind of in between the big night tomorrow night, 5,094. Well, there are many a night when I did ball games over at Peterson Gym across the street or at the San Diego Sports Arena. A game like this on a Monday night, you'd be lucky to get 1,100 or 1,200 fans. And again, I think that's a testament of what Coach Fisher's getting done here in the community and on the basketball court as well. People really starting to buy into this product. And you come out here and watch them play, you can understand why.
Just over 10 seconds on the shot clock for IPFW now as they begin their inbound play. Quentin Carruthers running out of time. It's Kucinich that takes the shot.
Kucinich's got a nice touch. For a big guy, he can step out there on the baseline and knock that jumper down. He's gotten a couple of pretty good looks here in the second half so far.
Jim Kucinich, their tallest player at 6'10". He's also a guy that's got a 3.8 GPA as a mechanical engineering major. Put him on the recruitment tape for IPFW. How did DeAndre Moore slip in there?
Great court vision by Tony Bland as he crossed back on defense. Tremendous effort by the senior Bland to find DeAndre Moore behind the defense of IPFW.
Tony Bland, DeAndre Moore, and Tommy Johnson playing well as a group tonight. They're playing like exactly what they are, Coach. Guys that have been here together for a couple of years.
And the other thing, and we'll talk about when we come back, a lot of these kids are out of the L.A. area. They played against a lot of one another growing up.
15:31 left in the game, 51-30 Aztecs.
Friday on Channel 4, San Diego. At 5, what becomes of the thousands of undocumented children who cross the border each year? San Diego Insider investigates. At 5:30, relive NFL history with a look back to Super Bowl 22 on Super Bowl Memories. And live at 7, the Aztec men take on Loyola Marymount. San Diego Insider at 5, NFL Memories at 5:30, and the Aztecs are live at 7. Friday on Channel 4, San Diego.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
Wow!
Yeah, I knew you'd like chocolate cake.
Yes, I will marry you.
What?
I love him.
Oh, wow.
I'm engaged.
We're engaged.
I'm so surprised.
And I'm the one that's surprised.
How long you been dating?
2 weeks.
Life is best told over a great-tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
Hold on. Talk to her. She's excited.
Okay, hi, Mom.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego Auto Show.
New 2003 model.
Cars.
Trucks. SUVs.
Minivan.
One convenient location.
New innovations.
Technology. Performance.
Style.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego Auto Show.
Concept
The
cars.
automotive future.
Today, exotics.
Ferrari. Maserati. Bentley.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego International Auto Show.
January 1st through 5th. San Diego Convention Center.
E-tickets at sdautoshow.com.
He's averaging just under 10 points tonight. DeAndre Moore, along with Tony Bland, really playing well in the backcourt tonight.
Tony Bland, his overall game right now is at a level that I've never seen before. Great backdoor cut there by DeAndre, getting the easy layup from a tremendous pass by Tony Bland. I have always enjoyed watching Tony Bland play. I remember when he played in the Double Pump All-Star Classic his senior year against some of the best players in Southern California, and he was one of the stars of that ball game that night. You know, before we go into break, I was talking about how Steve Fisher And Marvin Menz is one of his key assistants. He's done a great job of recruiting the L.A. area. They've gotten Tommy Johnson. DeAndre Moore came back from Vanderbilt after 1 year. Bland transferred in from Syracuse. And then you got a guy like Evan Burns, McDonald's All-American. That's an area where I think San Diego State can continue to recruit, because all the players that they've recruited out of there are having a positive impact on the program down here. And all these guys are going to go back and tell the kids in L.A. how fun it is to play at San Diego State and what a great venue it is.
Eric Sanders pulls down a rebound amidst a trio of blue jerseys. Travis Hanauer. Shot no good. Eric Sanders is there to make it stick. 6 points for Sanders tonight. Well, you know, the thing that the San Diego States and the Long Beach States and the Loyola Marimounts and Pepperdine's have always had to fight in terms of their recruiting in the area are the two big giants, USC and UCLA, with the UCLA program in something of a state of disarray. And perhaps Coach Bibby headed to the NBA, as has been rumored the past couple of years after this season is over. It bodes well for a program with some continuity like Steve Fisher's in terms of breaking into that LA recruiting area. You bet.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, I don't see Steve Fisher going anywhere. I think Steve Fisher, his family, particularly his wife, they love it here in San Diego. Coach Fisher's one son is the director of basketball operations down here at San Diego State, and they've really embraced this community. And I think that, you know, he's going to stay here, and he doesn't plan on going anywhere.
You signed that letter of intent as a blue chip prospect, and you want to know that the same guy who you signed with is going to be there when you're graduating as a senior. That's Tommy Johnson for three. The shot's no good. Eric Sanders has it wrestled away from him. 14 minutes left on the night. 53-30. Aztecs. Quentin Carruthers threw it away.
Well, you know, use a guy like Tony Bland, for example. He went to the East Coast. He went and played 2 years for Jim Boeheim. And he wanted to come back. He wanted to be closer to his family. He wanted to be where his family could see him play. And when Tony was coming out of high school at Westchester, he could have gone to UCLA, but he didn't want to go there. He wanted to go away. He decided to come back, and he felt San Diego State would be a great opportunity for him. And he has really taken the ball and run with it. And, of course, with Tony and with Randy Holcomb, who graduated, now playing in the professional league in Poland, they were really the first two guys that made a statement to a lot of people out there in the basketball world. Hey, San Diego State is a good place to go and play, and they proved it last year by getting to the NCAA tournament.
Plus, you know, I think in the case of Tony Bland, he got tired of looking at Sherman Douglas and Billy Owens at alumni games. Got a foul on the shot.
Well, if they had alumni games in the NBA, Billy Owens would be playing in a lot of them. He'd probably surpass 82 a year that he played for a number of years in the NBA.
Foul on Jim Kusenik. His first personal. Sends Mike McHale to the line. Mike had a nice night from the line on Saturday. Among his 20 points, 8 of them came from the free throw stripe. One of the Aztecs' better percentage free throw shooters. McHale shooting it better than 72%. Steve Surchek's in now. Eric Sanders will sit. And McHale knocks them both down. 8 points for Big Mike McHale tonight. A 25-point Aztec advantage, something they've been able to retain most of the night.
See, even though the Aztecs are pressuring, they got this big 25-point lead, Coach Knoll's not going to think that Steve Fisher's trying to run the score up on him, because this is allowing his team to get better against good competition.
Kusenik's shot is no good. These Mastodons would just love to get a home game on the schedule. Terry Collins with an athletic move on the lay-in, but they can't get the roll to drop down. Bland to Surrey thought about it.
Well, Tony wants to cast off, and he knows better from way out there.
He finds Sir on the other side of the floor, trying to work it in the low post. Mike McHale with a good move on David Simon.
You know what? He made that move before he ever received the ball. He sealed Simon, who was trying to get over the top. McHale just dropped down and sealed him, received that bounce pass, and laid it in.
Brandon Jennings can't get the lay into full. David Simon there for the putback.
Boy, Simon's a good-looking athlete. Doesn't have a lot of basketball experience. I mentioned he was a volleyball player there at Loyola University in Chicago, but he is a good-looking athlete. He just needs some playing time.
Just under 12 minutes left in the game. Still a 25-point Aztec lead. Now, they really haven't had to design much for McHale in the low post. And he's been solid when they get it down there to him, as he has all year, but the contributions are coming from everywhere. We'll have a couple other substitutions as we come back. A timeout on the floor with the Aztecs up by 25. We'll be right back.
It started. Oak and Brass's 28th annual New Year's sale. The best selection, the lowest prices, the biggest sale of the year. Visit our showrooms and discover the ultimate in savings on finer quality oak and mission-style furniture, all at the lowest prices of the year. Nothing has been held back, but hurry. Ends New Year's Day, 6 p.m. Oak and Brass, San Diego's finer quality oak furniture store, Miramar Road and San Marcos.
You know, we sing for millions of girls, but helping out in schools, that's the real deal, baby.
I know our love can multiply, 'cause you're the X and I'm the Y.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying?
So, have you ever been backstage before?
Okay, guys, this is Abacus, an old school calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like the circle and the square, our geometry is a perfect pair.
Now, why should kids know about gravity?
Well, gravity holds them down.
I once was one, but now we're two.
I'm spinning out of control.
One is where my love to you.
Fans, a reminder, our next San Diego State basketball telecast is Friday, January 3rd at 7 p.m. when your Aztecs host Loyola Marymount. The Lions will visit Cox Arena, hoping to cool down the red-hot Aztecs at this Friday night at 7 right here on Channel 4. And a note, if you're planning on coming out to the game on Friday here at the arena, it's a kids-free holiday. A $10 adult ticket includes a free youth ticket for kids ages 14 and under. So bring the kids, bring the family, and come see us take on Loyola on Friday night.
When I was 10 years old, we used to try to, get in on that ticket, with a kid's free night. Problem was, when I was 10, I looked about 16 because I was a little bit too tall.
Boy, a pretty athletic move by Tommy Johnson under the hoop is nullified by a foul.
Tommy Johnson playing with a lot of confidence right now. That's a heck of a move right there. He'd probably beat somebody in a horse game if he used that move.
From 3, so he goes downtown and gets it from out there.
Tommy's hit a couple of those threes tonight.
It is a game-best 28-point lead for the Aztecs.
Once again, the Aztecs continue to press, and by no means are they trying to pour it on IPFW. They're just trying to work on some things, and Coach Knoll of IPFW realizes that.
Brandon Jennings gets it to drop, plus the foul.
A good look at Coach Knoll right there. Wonderful guy. I talked to him a year ago when they were in town. He saw me tonight, Matt, when we were in the little lunchroom there before the ball game. He goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And we chatted for a few minutes. Just a really pleasant guy and a guy that knows what it's all about. Had a great record at Spring Arbor College. And, this is a tough go. I mean, his career record, considering, he's been playing totally outmanned the last couple of years, is only 10 games under 500. That's not all that bad, considering he spends most of his basketball season's last 3 years traveling around America.
DeAndre Moore is pushed out of bounds. Well, they're going to call the coach's son on the foul, Brad Knoll. When you think of father-son coaches in college basketball, what's the first tandem that you think of?
Press Maravich and Pete Maravich.
Really, I guess you ask 4 or 5 different people, you get 4 or 5 different answers. I think of Danny Tarkanian.
That's a good one.
You know, he was no Pete Maravich.
No, but Danny Tarkanian was a heck of a point guard over there at UNLV.
Great college basketball
He could
player.
really distribute the basketball, and he had some guys to distribute it too, also.
That makes all the difference in the world. A lot of people you could call that foul on. If it's on Evan Burns, it's his 4th. It is not on Evan Burns. It's called on Chris Manker, just his 1st personal.
We got another father-son combo here as we see Simon drawing the foul, even though it looked like Manker got all ball. And Evan Burns trying to play a little official, saying it's an offensive foul. Look at this. Evan Burns may have had a little bit of a call there. When his basketball days are over, he might put that whistle around his neck. Problem is, it's going to be a few years down the road, because this kid not only going to have a good college career, there's a chance he's going to make a lot of money someday.
Simon can't get either one of the free throws to drop. Shooting just 46% from the free throw line. Steve Kerr from 3. Still a 25-point Aztec lead.
I want to get back to that father-son tandem. I kind of like what you brought up there.
Well, you know, the only reason I throw the Tarkanians out there is because Coach Tarkanian, one of the, along with Ara Parsegian maybe, a couple of the only Armenian Americans to reach any note in the world of sports. If you want to count Gero Yepremian, the guy that muffed the field goal in the '72 Super Bowl, I guess you could talk about prominent Armenians in sports, but that's about it.
Yeah, but give Gero his proper due. He also kicked the game-winning field goal in the longest game in professional football league history in '71.
Very nice. Does Steve Hartman know that you're closing in on his turf there with ridiculous football trivia?
I have no idea, but you know, we like to talk about some of those fun things from time to time. And I was on the phone with my dad today. My dad was asking me about Tarkanian. I said, you know, he's retired, but he actually lives part of the year here in San Diego and Pacific Beach, and it would not surprise me if Coach Tarkanian came out to a game a little bit later in the year.
We'd love to have him. Under 20 seconds on the shot clock. Woodall had a clean look at the hoop that time, couldn't get it to fall.
Coach Knoll exhorting his troops. See, one of the things, man, when you got a ball club that it's so inexperienced, you've got to coach to that final horn. A lot of coaches, they get frustrated, they go sit down on the bench, and they're not going to say anything. And all of a sudden, the kids start realizing, hey, the coach isn't coaching. You know, and they start wondering how much he really cares and buys into what they're doing. But Coach Nolan and staff, they continue to coach, and they've got to coach throughout the course of the year. The whole year is constant coaching right now. When you're a program like IPFW, you can't sit back and relax. Whether you're up by 10 or down by 20, you got to keep coaching.
Well, the guy who's coached only 2 home games all year, not unlike the Owls of Florida Atlantic, who we just got through with on Saturday. The Road Act. The Washington Generals, indeed. We used that analogy Saturday night. You could say the same thing of IPFW.
It's amazing, you know, when you watch college basketball scores in the paper, and I do that pretty religiously and try to keep up on the national scene, it's amazing to me how many small schools, number one, have a basketball program, and number two, how many of them that are out there trying to, you know, get to be a mid-major player in this whole thing, how much they travel. Where do they get all the money? That's the thing that's amazing about this. Now, I would imagine with IPFW coming in tonight, they get some type of guarantee from San Diego State. They pay maybe their hotel, or they give them X amount of dollars for playing this game tonight. But and some of these teams, they travel all over the country, and you wonder what kind of budget they have.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a barnstorming tour. Free throws good. The last of 2 good by Evan Burns. 61-35, under 10 minutes left in the ball game. You know, something you talked about Saturday night I found interesting, and so far it's rang true. The Aztecs have done a nice job not looking past any opponents, but with Florida Atlantic Saturday, IPFW here tonight, two teams the Aztecs should, and in one case at least, have beaten. And it would have been easy just to cheat through the first couple of games on this 5-game homestand and think about Loyola, think about Texas Tech, think about the city championship on the 8th. The focus has been good. Foul before the shot. Called away from the ball on Evan Burns, and that's his 4th of the night.
They're going to get DeAndre Moore to come out, and DeAndre's going to try it out. He's saying, hey, I want to play a little bit more tonight. You don't have to take me out yet, Coach. There's 4 on Evan Burns, and he's not very happy about this. And quite frankly, that wasn't much of a foul right there. That doesn't get called if this is a 3 or 4 point ball game. I like the Aztecs, man. They've continued to try to apply defensive pressure. And that's the way you force your team to play hard. I think Steve Fisher was very upset with his ball club at the end of the first half, even though they had the big lead, because they got real careless with the basketball. And the best way to keep your team playing hard is by forcing them to press defensively.
Aztec fouled on Chris Manker, his 2nd of the night.
Chris started tonight with a headband, but about 3 trips a minute ago down the floor, it got knocked off, so he just threw it over to the bench. It looks like he'll go the rest of the way without a headband.
Interesting analysis, Coach. See if that has any bearing on the outcome tonight.
Tommy Johnson wearing the headband. Of course, Mike McHale, Tony Bland, Evan Burns joining the crew tonight.
Basketball fashion is cyclical indeed. There was a time, as recently as 7 or 8 years ago, nobody wanted to go back to that Sidney Watts headband. Sounded like all ball. The officials think otherwise, and they're going to get David Simon on the foul.
Looked like a pretty good block by the real physical-looking Simon. He trots over to talk to the coaching staff. Take a look right here. Burns elevating. Simon. He might have whacked him on the head along with the ball. Well, I'll tell you, you look from different angles. Really, at that time, it looked like he got pretty much all ball.
You know, if you look at anything from different angles, it's wild what you'll see. Witness the Tom Brady fumble from last year.
The tuck rule.
Oh, boy. Improvisational officiating.
It all worked out. The Raiders have home field advantage this year. New England will be watching the playoffs starting Saturday.
Tony Bland behind the back gets it back to Eric Sanders. He doesn't shoot him often from out there and couldn't get that one to drop. Sanders gets the rebound away from Tommy Johnson. He's going to go to the line.
Boy, that was a great job of passing the basketball for Eric Sanders to get that good look from the free throw line. Beautiful passing by the Aztecs once again tonight. I was so impressed on Saturday night against Florida Atlantic. They've done an outstanding job of that again this evening.
Eric Sanders to the line. First one rolls around and out. D'Angelo Woodall checks out. Tyler Clevenger back into the game. And the second one's good. They have retained the 25-point margin at the Aztecs. Just over 8 minutes left. Tyler Clevenger out of control again, a la Stevie Nash. My goodness. If I didn't know any better, I'd say Tyler Clevenger was from Canada. Instead, he's from Winchester, Indiana.
Well, Clevenger trying to do just a little bit too much that time, and you know he just was out of control and picked up the foul. And he's going to get a well-deserved rest right now. He played quite a few minutes tonight. He's been under duress much of the evening.
Steve Surf from way out there. That one around and out.
Steve hit that first shot, been unable to get anything else to go tonight.
We saw Tyler Clevenger, as he came out of the ball game there, take a seat next to one of the assistant coaches for IPFW. We're talking about Cliff Levinston, who's got some local history here from Morse High School. There's Big Cliff, 11 seasons in the NBA. We're told that this is the first time that the program has had an assistant coach, and they've got a good one there, a guy with plenty of professional basketball experience to draw on.
Well, 10 years in the NBA, got a ring with the Chicago Bulls, a good friend of Michael Jordan's, and I remember Cliff playing for Ron Davis back in the late 70s. Had some great teams at Morse High School, and I remember one night they were playing Bourbon Day at Mesa College. I got down there early, and I'm glad I did because it was sold out. Bourbon Day had Eddie Gordon, who eventually came here to San Diego State, was a 3-year starter, and a guy by the name of Cliff Pruitt, who went to UCLA and then to Alabama Birmingham, and another guy that had a great career at UCLA and Kenny Fields. And Bourbon Day beat Morse that night, but I saw Cliff play many a night, and he went on and had a great career at Wichita State.
7:40 left in the ball game. A 64-41 lead for the Aztecs. Coach and I will be right back.
It's Ford's last call. The year's almost over, and that means unbelievable deals on brand new 2003s. There's only a few days left to get the Ford you want at deals that are about to go away. 0% for 5 years on all Rangers and Explorers. 0% plus $1,500 on Escape. 0% plus $1,000 on Windstar and F-150. 0% on just about every 2003 Ford. Ford's last call ends January 2nd.
Don't miss it.
While other stores have sales all the time, we offer low prices all year long. So when we do have a sale, our prices are a lot lower than other stores. Right now, over half our suits and sport coats are on sale, plus hundreds of pants, sweaters, shoes, shirts, and outerwear, 20 to 50% off, which means the only way to beat a Men's Warehouse price is at the Men's Warehouse winter sale. I guarantee it.
Open New Year's Day. Call 1-800-776-SUIT.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego Auto Show.
New 2003 models.
Cars.
Trucks. SUVs.
Minivans.
One convenient location.
New innovations.
Technology. Performance.
Style.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego Auto Show.
See the car everyone is talking about.
The all-new Mini Cooper.
Classic muscle cars.
From the San Diego Automotive Museum.
The cars are the stars.
At the San Diego International Auto Show.
January 1st through 5th. San Diego Convention Center.
E-tickets at SDAutoShow.com.
Fans, a reminder, Super Bowl 37 is just a little over 4 weeks away, and Channel 4 San Diego's gearing up for everything but the game. Our Super Bowl coverage kicked off Friday, January 17th, where we'll take you live to the NFL experience, as well as show you what San Diego's doing to prepare for Super Bowl Sunday. Again, our everything but the game coverage begins on January 17th. It is a busy month indeed. Well, they talk about January being a month where sports starts to slow down. Certainly not the case here in San Diego with this Aztecs team playing great basketball, exciting to watch, and a good slate of home games in January. The Super Bowl coming to town later on this month. Big fun here in San Diego. Mike McHale working on Simon. Little right-hand turnaround shot's no good. Aztecs with a lineup of McHale, Hanauer, Bland, Sanders, and Serve.
One thing about San Diego State, you blink, they might have a new ball player on the floor. They've really been able to use a lot of guys the last couple of ball games, and I would imagine they're going to even use a few more tonight.
Tony Bland working on Knoll. Shot no good.
Eric Sanders garners the rebound, but standing out of bounds.
Tyler Clevenger will come back in for Brad Knoll. You know, this is one of those nights, too, when you think about resting your horses. You're not into the conference part of the schedule yet, and it's too early for Coach Fisher to determine his rotation. One of the guys that jumps out is Travis Hanauer, who's in there getting some late minutes tonight. Three-pointers good. Travis has had some problems on and off with tendonitis in the knees. And as we've been told, you know, sometimes it's okay, some nights not so good.
Well, the thing is, Matt, you know, talking to Mark Haynes and to Coach Fisher earlier in the week, it's a situation with Travis. He's probably going to have to play the entire year with this because he's got it in both knees, and some days he feels pretty good, like you mentioned. Other days, you know, he's got to really limit what he can do in practice. And hopefully, you know, that's something that's going to eventually go away. But really, the only way for it to go away is staying off of it. Playing basketball and playing full board, change the direction, the pounding that your knees take along with your lower back and really all your joints. It's very difficult unless you just take flat-out time off.
Mike McHale's first free throw, no good. Wholesale changes now for both clubs. John Sharper and Tremaine Davis check back in for the Aztecs. They'll replace Tony Bland and Eric Sanders.
Tremaine Davis has not gotten a lot of play, you know, recently. He played a little bit earlier in the year where he was getting a few more minutes, but I think he's the guy that down the road somewhere this year, he's going to have to come in and play valuable minutes. A lot like Myron F. last year, who lost his starting job and became a defensive specialist. Here's a guy that scored well over 1,000 points in his Aztec career. He's the leading scorer for a couple of years. He comes to be a senior, and he has a hard time staying on the floor. He became a defensive specialist. And Tremaine Davis, what he may lack in fundamental offensive skills of being a good, solid down along the baseline offensive player, he makes up with tremendous intensity. He's a great leaper. We saw the other night that thunderous dunk he had late in the ball game. And the other thing, I think he's a very good defender, and he's going to be a great rebounder. But again, it's tough when you don't play all the time to come in, get in the flow of the game. But he's a guy that's got great work habits, a lot like Eric Sanders. And I think you're going to see him eventually be a guy that's really going to play a big part in this basketball program the next 4 years. Remember, he's a redshirt freshman, so he's a youngster.
Huge upside with a guy like Tremaine Davis, who I think quietly Steve Fisher might expect very big things from in the near future. You bet. Just under 6 minutes left tonight. Aztecs on top by 21. Chris Manker also checking in after that last whistle. So a lineup of Manker, Davis, Sir, Sharper, and Hanauer. Kucinich tried to get it over to Clevelander, and he got it back from some errant display of passing. It did not, however, reset the shot clock down to 20 seconds. This, you know, this is not the over-pursuing type of San Diego State defense that we saw early in the game and early in the second half rather, but it's been just as effective. Playing a good, solid half-court rotation. Jennings with the right hand around and out. That's the 7-footer, the tallest man on the floor, Manker. Sir was trying to get it into Tremaine Davis and threw it away.
Well, Tremaine, anytime you get down on the block here, you got to get those hands up. You can't have your hands down below your waist. You got to get those hands up in a ready position. And, you know, Sir a little frustrated. You know, Steve hit his first shot tonight. But, again, his overall game right now, he's fighting himself a little bit. He's got to have a couple of good positive things happen. Might get that confidence back that he was playing with earlier in the year.
You know what I liked about that? Steve Sir knew that Tremaine Davis could have caught that entry pass, and he never showed him up with the body language. Three-pointer's good. Is there anything worse than seeing that? You know, the guy who throws the good pass, and for whatever reason, somebody doesn't catch it, and he gets all upset and gives you all the gyrations and the theatrics and goes into the histrionics about it. He wants to tell all the fans and the coaches, hey, I did my part. But Steve Sir didn't do that there. You know, that's done in baseball. Football players do that. Nobody likes to be shown up as a teammate.
No, not at all. I mean, when you're going to play with a guy for a number of games or a period of years, and you better not get on a teammate's bad side, because you know what ends up happening then. You got guys starting to choose sides on whose side they're on, and that's when it divides the ball club. But, you know, Steve obviously was disappointed by the pass that went out of bounds, but he just hustled back down the other end. And the other thing that I've noticed about this team, and we noticed a little bit at Long Beach State because we got up there earlier to do that ball game, this team's a pretty good group of guys. They really seem to hang together. They walk to the arena. A lot of them walk together over from where they're staying here, whether it be an apartment or on campus. And, you know, this team, you know, they're really building some solid things here, not just for the short term either, but for the long term.
Just over 4 minutes left tonight. Well, they thought Kucinich walked. Travis Hanauer batted it out of bounds.
Well, the fans are going to start calling for Ben Wardrop here pretty quick, I would imagine, Matt.
Ben got some time on Saturday night against Florida Atlantic. So did Andres Torres, the last guy's in the rotation.
Marquis White got a little playing time. I'd imagine he'll get another opportunity to play tonight.
Brad Knowles' shot is off. Somehow John Sharper came up with that. Follow it around and see what it eats. Big guy lost the handle on it. We're going to take time with 3:48 left on the floor. Aztecs on top big tonight, 66-47. We'll be right back.
Your hotspot for Super Bowl entertainment is downtown San Diego and Balboa Park. It all happens in the Union Tribune Super Hub. Don't miss the largest fireworks show in San Diego's history, January 25th. Check out the action at Fifth Quarter in the Gaslamp, January 24th through the 26th. And take part in the NFL Experience, January 23rd through the 26th. Take the trolley or catch the Super Hub action live on Channel 4 San Diego. Brought to you by the San Diego Union Tribune and these key teammates.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, catch me if you can.
Truck after truck, our greatest Simmons mattress sale ever, and more furniture for less. Every Simmons Beauty Rest World Class, every Simmons Beauty Rest Exceptional, every Simmons Deep Sleep mattress marked down to our guaranteed lowest prices ever, with free next day delivery, free metal frame, free setup, and free removal of old mattress. You may never see prices this low again. Plus pay absolutely nothing for 1 year, and more furniture for less. It's today, 12 hours, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
66-47 Aztecs with 3:48 left in the game. Have Askersion alongside Coach John Quintero. Nice to have you with us on this Monday night from the Mesa. It has been all Aztecs ever since the opening tip. San Diego State went on a 10-0 run to start the ball game, and they have not looked back since. Steve Thrasher's shot from 10 feet out is no good.
Hey, we talked about it at halftime, Matt. This IPFW ball club, they've come out and played real solid and real hard in the second half.
Thrasher's shot good to make it 66-49. Now, this has not turned into the 135-point scoring night that it had the pace to in the first 5 minutes. What's Chris Manker have to do to get that basketball to drop? Around and down and out. Under 3 minutes left. Quentin Carruthers' shot's no good.
When you listen to the bench right now, IPFW, the players are cheering over there. They're having some fun in the second half. They've had some success, and their coaching staff continue to exhort them.
Steve Cerf buries that wide open look. 6 points for the three-point shooting specialist out of Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Well, when he's shooting well, it all looks so good coming out of his hands.
There were stories about Steve Sir's shooting prowess near the end of the practice schedule that could grow into the stuff of legend before his career is too much older. Making 27 straight three-pointers, 99 out of 100 free throws, ridiculous stuff like that, things to save the team from running. Foul called on John Sharper. That's his second personal.
Now Clevenger is going to go to the line. I'll tell you, Tyler Clevenger going to sleep extremely well tonight. He has been very active out there. He's been frustrated at times, but a good move to get in here and draw the foul, and he'll go to the line to shoot two.
Clevenger's first free throw is good. There's Marquis White now, who had some time near the end of the FAU game on Saturday. He'll replace Travis Hanauer. Before the eligibility of Evan Burns, Travis Hanauer and Chris Manker, Marquis White figured into the rotation a little more prominently, but one of the guys who's lost out on playing time as some of those other bodies have become available.
Good-looking ball player, though, you know, still very young, and he's a walk-on, actually, from Long Beach College.
First shot of the night's no good. I think Coach Gwynn is watching the guy from his alma mater here tonight.
That wouldn't surprise me, and if Tony is watching, looking forward to getting out and seeing his Aztec ball club play. They really had a great recruiting year, and I know there are a lot of high hopes for the Aztec baseball program this year, and hopefully next week, if they're out taking a little batting practice in the afternoon, I'm going to stop on by.
You hear some noise from the fans here at Cox Arena. Ben Wardrop indeed set to check in. Jermaine Davis' turnaround jump shot is no good. Foul's called on Brandon Jennings. It's going to send Chris Manker to the line. And here's Ben Wardrop. We'll have a timeout on the floor first, but Ben is checking into his second straight game after the big lopsided win here on Saturday.
Yeah, Ben, his younger brother going to come in on Friday night, a youngster playing for Steve Aggers and Loyola Marymount, West Wardrop, and a pretty good-looking young player, Matt.
We'll see Ben Wardrop in a moment, but this is one of those things that you look for in a game that's 69-54 with a minute left. We've got a couple of guys out there tonight in different uniforms with Molly Hatchet-inspired hairdos. Steve Sir and Tyler Clevenger, different guys, different schools, same barber apparently.
Well, it looks like that. You look at Clevenger, he's got that winter cut. You take a look at Steve Sir, he's got more of the summer cut.
And that's one that's summer, winter, spring, and fall. That's an all-season afro.
Without a doubt.
Chris Manker's first free throw is no good. Again, tickets going fast for the Texas Tech game on January 6th. There are still seats available. Mike May and the rest of the good people from the athletic department here wanted us to pass along the news. Quentin Carruthers' left-handed lay-in is good.
Think about it, Matt. You've got Loyola Marymount on this coming Friday night. You've got Texas Tech on Monday, and 2 nights later, January 8th, the city championship, USD, right here at Cox Arena, taking on the Aztecs.
Come on out and watch Aztecs basketball this week, you bet. And the good ticket deal going on for the LMU game. Ben Wardrop for 3. Buries it! That's as loud as Cox Arena's been all night.
Oh, my.
.52-58 seconds remaining.
They want Ben Wardrop to get another look.
Tremaine Davis from 15 feet.
I'd like to see a guy like Tremaine Davis get in the book. I mean, he's a guy that really works hard. Nice to see him hit that jumper.
That's Graham Nesbitt, who checked in just prior to the buzzer, and that's the way she ends tonight. Your San Diego State Aztecs, winners of 5 straight. A 74-58 triumph over IPFW tonight. Well, the home record stays in check, Coach. We talked about the assist to the 13th man, as it were. The arena here, Cox Arena, now the Aztecs 16-5 here since beginning of last season, and another great show for the fans tonight.
No question about it. And the key to this ball game, let's face it, first 5 minutes, Aztecs just dominated the game. They got a little ragged towards the end of the first half, and quite frankly, I thought IPFW came out and played a very solid second half. And, you know, the Aztecs were playing a lot of different.
Two sides of
No one's free for each other, so all he did is just lay in wait and steal it. John, you got to communicate with him. He's not guy that. Let's go. Hey, when they're overplaying money. Two sides of it. Come on, Red. Two sides of the corner money. Red ball. Red ball. Two sides of the corner money. White. I'm back. I'm out. Up. I'm out. We screen. I'm in. I'm out. Watch out. Drop the ball. It's there. Clear. Wesley, give him the ball. We can catch it and sweep it and drive it to the rim. We can catch it, sweep it through and drive it to the rim for a score.